Hey, what's up everyone? Sean here at Blue Ridge Collectibles. Thank you for joining in on this video where we take a look at Magic's newest release, and that's Innistrad Crimson Val. I actually have one of the gift boxes right here that we will be opening in a video sometime here in the next day or two. As you guys know, I haven't really broken a lot of Magic. The last I did do was some Midnight Hunt, but we're gonna do a few of the Crimson Vow before it ages and disappears into the night. No pun intended, given that this is a vampire set, kind of vampire themed set this time around. There, it, the set has had kind of like mixed reviews. Some of the cards people have thought, are a little underwhelming, a little underpowered, a little watered down, and kind of, expected given the fact that, Wizards of the Coast had cranked out some pretty powerful sets here in the not too distant past. Throne of Eldraine, Theros Beyond Death. You can even put Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths in there. But Crimson Vow, to a lot of people, wasn't really, exhilarating for whatever reason. I think it has its redeeming qualities, especially when it comes to Vampire Tribal, along with a few other cards that could possibly have, some sort of modern commander implications. We've seen a few cards that have kind of risen up, to become staples in certain metagames and certain decks and that sort of thing. But Crimson Vow, in terms of value, has next to nothing in value compared to some of the more recent sets like Modern Horizons. It seems like everything is being compared to Modern Horizons. That release has been an absolute friggin' gauntlet since its release, and it's a shame that, standard playable sets like Midnight Hunt, like Adventures in the Forgotten Realm, the D&D set that came out earlier in the year, and then now Crimson Vow, they're all being compared to Modern Horizons, and it's an unfair comparison. And especially when it comes to that value kind of proposition with Crimson Vow, it's a little bit on the light side. However, there is one card, ladies and gentlemen, that could completely change things. That'll make your day if you find it. It's the one on screen here. Sorin the Mirthless is a 4 casting cost planeswalker. Absolutely just wicked art. I love the art on this card, and it's no big secret why that this one has been performing absolutely monstrous on the secondary market. We're going to take a look at some completed sales of this card, by the way, so don't go away. But what's all the hubbub about? Is it the card? Is it the playability of the card? Or is it just simply the collectability? From what we can see, 2 black, 2 colorless, 4 total cast and cost planeswalker. Comes in with 4 loyalty counters, so not a terrible rate by itself. But there you go. There's the different attributes on the card. Per turn, you could do any one of those as long as you have enough loyalty counters to get there. But you could +1 Sorin. Look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card and put it into your hand. If you do, you lose life equal to its mana value. So it's kind of, you get to weed through your deck a little bit quicker. Might come to a point where there's going to be a specific combo enabler card that you're going to draw using that ability, and it's going to be worth the 3, 4, 5 life regarding its converted mana cost to just get it into your hand. And that's a good ability. It's a help you kind of sow through your deck a little bit quicker. It's not a quick effect, but it gives you that card advantage draw every turn. That you opt for, especially in a black heavy deck like this one would be. Or I would imagine, some would say Sorin would also fit in like a Rakdos style black red type deck. It could be, I don't know. I'm seeing more of just a strictly black heavy vampire tribal type deck with this card. -2, create a 2/3 black vampire creature token with flying and lifelink. That's what I love about Sorin. It can protect itself by having the ability to -2 itself and put a body out on the battlefield that not only has flying, so it's got some evasion ability, but you can also gain a few life as well if you had to block and protect Sorin against a big monstrous creature on the other side. And then finally, the ultimate is a -7. Sorin the Mirthless deals 13 damage to any target. You gain 13 life. So it's pretty much a death blow to your opponent if it came down to it. And if not that, it'll also swing the tide as far as life total, especially if you're playing like a 2 versus 2 commander style type of format, was that two-headed giant or whatever it is. But the ultimate is not the best I've seen. It's not the worst I've seen. It's kind of like mid-pack, but you want to make sure that when you play it, the power play for the -7 has to be supportive of what your overall, strategy is going to be to kind of close out the game. Because you will have to wait 3-4 turns to get the ultimate out on this card, so make sure it's appropriate. But all in all, it seems to be a very solid Planeswalker. I like the +1 ability a lot more than probably the other two. The -2 is pretty good. But all in all, if you were to use the +1 and the -2 ability, keeping in mind that it is a vampire creature token that you are creating with that blank -2 ability, it's going to be a very solid card for years to come. And, we saw Sorin that came out in Core Set 2020 that has been just an absolutely amazing Planeswalker. And I suppose this card right here will kind of fit in, like 1A, 1B in some sort of deck. There would become a time where in a Pioneer format or Historic or whatever the case may be, even Modern, you could have both of those Sorins, this one and the other one from Core Set 2020, in the same deck. They work and synergize really well together. So that is Sorin the Mirthless. This is the one that is in Crimson Val, and this is the card that is hitting all sorts of secondary market headlines as of today. And here's what we got here in terms of the value. Now, these are all completed sales, and what I did was I started at the most expensive cards that have sold within the last few weeks, because this set had only been out, I'd say, about 2-3 weeks. End of November is when this one came out, I think. Man, it's been so long ago already. I haven't even done any box breaks on this. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why that you open these boxes or packs. You can find these in packs, and you don't necessarily have to open up collector boosters. I believe you could find these even in regular draft and set boosters. So if you're at let's say you don't have a local card shop or comic shop that sells these, you could go to Target and then buy those, in Walmart, and buy these packs with the chance of getting one of these cards. Now, they're not quite that common, and that's the big reason why that these cards are worth the amount of money that they are. Now, keep in mind, the foreign language types of Sorin the Mirthless has been just absolutely exploding the secondary market, okay? The Japanese version of Sorin, one copy sold for $1,200. It kind of reminds me a little bit about War in the Spark Japanese booster boxes, where you had that big Liliana that's worth about $1,000. That's what this card reminds me of. Now, keep in mind, with this particular Sorin, there's two different art styles. The one that you're looking here is going to be the one to look for. They call this the showcase artwork. It's got, as you can see, it's got these pretty cool fangs here underneath the name and the CMC. But it's got this, the kind of like the art that extends a little bit beyond the normal area. Plus, it's got all of the other showcase frame aesthetics to it. It's a very attractive looking card, but that's the one you're going to be looking for. Kind of like that Japanese anime style art on this particular card. And of course, the big one to get is, of course, the foil edition. Now, these aren't particularly, I would say, rare or short printed. All right, they're just a bigger chase card than all the rest of the cards in the set. But the Japanese ones, if you're able to get a hold of some of those booster boxes or collector booster boxes of the Japanese type, that is going to be your biggest opportunity to find this card. Going on down the line, here's a French one right here that sold for $383. And then also notate the sold dates as well. Because obviously, you know, when a new set comes out with Magic, the cards will begin to kind of like dwindle in price a little bit. And then they'll hit a floor. And then they'll kind of stay there. And then, you know, usually after the set retires and it goes out of print, and then they cycle through to the next standard format, then that's normally where you're going to see upticks in these cards. Kind of like what we're seeing on the War of the Spark Liliana card, which that card has been, it's a lot tougher to find because there's not as many War of the Spark Japanese booster boxes being sold, and not many people are cracking into them because they're just so expensive now. I think they're hitting close to $300 a box, and there's no guarantee that you're going to hit a Liliana, and the one to get is the foil, and normally a foil mythic lands one per case. All right, so it could be any one of the mythics. It doesn't necessarily will be that alternate Japanese art Liliana. It could be one of the others. But continuing on, we get to the English versions. Now these are all sales around the mid-November range. So we are first week of December right now. $339 is kind of like that top end tipping point dollar amount that we've seen, and then you're going to see the prices kind of dwindle a little bit. $330, $324. These are all within like 2-3 days from each other. $305, $300 right here. This is November 21st, so we've had about 4 days worth of sales so far. But you can see here's December 1st. This is a recent one at $250. So it had dropped $100 per card. But it seems to be holding that price pretty well throughout the last few weeks. So it's an extremely beautiful card. It's very attractive, and it's playable. It's going to be playable, I would say, more in Commander than any other format. Probably won't see nearly as much Modern play, I would imagine, because there's just not a really deep or heavy vampire support type of deck for Modern right now. That I would say is lights out and absolutely needs Sorin to Mirthless in there. But as you can see, the prices are kind of steady Eddie right here. They kind of are settling in that 200 to 225 region, and it's not nothing. Can you imagine opening up like 5 packs and then landing one of these bad boys? I've done it myself. I've hit some pretty big heavy hitting foil mythics in my lifetime out of just a few 2 or 3 packs. It's been done before, but the market is absolutely big, and it is kind of in love with this card right now. And the artwork, along with the foil and all that stuff, really gives this card a lot of things to want to love about it for future collectability. And, you know, as you can see, there's no shortage of them. There's quite a few of them that have sold. Here's some right here, right around $200. But, you know, I've seen a lot of these cards sell for around $200. And then there's some underachieving type of listings like this that, you know, have landed in there as well. There's also a Count Dracula version of Sorin the Mirthless that's not worth nearly as much, but it's still like $100 to $150 card, so that's another big one to look out for in Crimson Vow. And I believe these ones are either in the collector booster packs and the box toppers, that if you were able to buy a complete sealed box of set or draft boosters, this will have one of those box toppers, and you might have the chance of grabbing a Count Dracula, which is a alternate art of Sorin the Mirthless. So there you go. That's what I want to talk about. This is a pretty big card. It's the most expensive card in the set as of right now. There will become a point where Inventory will thin out. These will probably drop down to 125 to 150 by the time it's all said and done. And it's just going to sit there. And it's going to give everybody the opportunity to pick these up while Wizards of the Coast continues to release more product. People are going to forget about this card. Now, keep in mind, Wizards is doing some pretty crazy different things. We saw our first ever serial numbered card that was released in the Secret Lair product that you could only order on Wizards of the Coast website. By the way, I think they have a big end of the year Secret Lair that's being offered right now on their website. But those are serial numbered out of 100, and the card name is Viscera Seer. And it's actually mirrored artwork. They took the artwork and then reversed it. All the words and stuff is even reversed as well. It's pretty cool. But that, you know, Wizards is kind of getting outside of their comfort zone, and they're really, you know, making a bet that collectability will become a thing in Magic cards. You know, kind of like how it used to be 15, 20 years ago with the older sets. So this is why I wanted to talk about kind of like a little market update on the most expensive card from Crimson Vow. It is a stunner. Go ahead and check it out. I'm going to open up the gift bundle. Looks like a very beautiful set. I'll be opening that up here shortly for you guys as kind of like a appetizer for possibly maybe some future Crimson Vow openings. There is a ton of cards that I want to open in addition to this. But that's it, guys. Thank you for all your views and support. Let me know what you think about Sorin the Mirthless, the man with the plan. Always a consistently good planeswalker in every set that he is released in. Yeah, it was a lot of fun talking to you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all that other stupid stuff. You know, I always have to say it. And you guys keep collecting, keep gaming. All right, so long.